I want to show you a clip. This is of the 1979 Daytona 500. The last lap, an important one. You were on the call, and maybe you can walk me through it after watching it.
It's all come down to this. Out of turn two, Donnie Allison in first. Where will Cale make his move? He comes to the inside. Donnie Allison throws the block. Cale hits him. He slides. Donnie Allison slides. They hit again. They drive into the turn. They're hitting the wall. They're head on the wall. They slide down to the inside. Let's watch those third place cars. They're out of it. Who is going to win it? Two cars are out. Petty is out in front at the line. Walter to the inside. Petty wins it. And there's a fight between Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison. The tempers overflowing. They're angry. They know they have lost. And what a bitter defeat.
So to watch that live, what's going through your head in that final lap?
Well, to start that on CBS with what looked like a prepared finish, how do you put together something and you bring Richard Petty home first, who was the representative to much of America, and still today, the Petty family. Get him in front.
I know.
And you've got that Darrell Waltrip right there.
Yeah.
Young guy, looking good and really trying. But behind that was the whole Allison story, which is a family out of Florida originally. And they moved up to Alabama. And the Alabama gang was created out of what they were and are today. So all of that played a part in giving you a Americana kind of finish that you couldn't have expected nor anticipated as it came out. In fact, AJ was running fifth or sixth, below the front five.
Yeah.
And he called into his crew chief and said, "Where are we?" And he told him that they were fifth or sixth. And he said, "How much does that pay?" And the guy gave him a number and he said, "Okay." And he stayed there. A lot of people still think that A.J. Foyt could have won that race. And he was not willing to pull out and fool around with those guys. And you saw what happened to the two that were the eventual story of the race. That was magic.
Yeah.
It was just magic. And it was the kind of thing that Bill France really understood. And there they were with an Indianapolis champion, you know. And it was fun to do, and it's always fun to see. And I'll tell you something. The race was over, and CBS had spent an outlandish amount of money to put that on. It was the first time, and everything that could happen had happened. And it had rained in the morning. We almost lost it that day. For 2 hours we waited. We got it in, got it over, and you have this lollapalooza of a finish, right? And then the principals in the story come back on stage for one more round, and they really got after each other.
Did.
And probably for rightful reasons. But it made that story of that race, and that as much as the finish at the very first race, Daytona 500, was something that got in people's minds and they couldn't get rid of. And what a way to start this Daytona image of American stock car racing.
You talk about a perfect finish, and that first Daytona 500 being the photo finish, great start for Big Bill, and now the first flag-to-flag Daytona 500 finish ends like that. Are you thinking this is great? This is going to help propel the sport into a new level? You weren't.
No, I was trying to stay ahead of what was going on.
Yeah.
And what had happened was you had those top runners all together. And there was another car out there painted with the same colors as Richard Petty, Buddy Arrington.
Yeah.
And when they lost the principals down the backstretch and into the wall, the search was for the leader.
Yeah.
And they started to pick up this car running by itself, actually several laps down. And so some of that call was trying to be a spotter. to tell them where the leader was.
Yeah.
Because that was still a tremendous battle among those cars. And they got it right, and they brought the right car against the line. But that was a moment, and that's about all I thought about was, you didn't want someone that wasn't a principal in it being involved as if he was. Nice guy, too.
I think 15 million people or so tuned into the broadcast. There was a snowstorm up north that kept everyone inside their homes watching this race on television. But before the race, Big Bill blacked the race out in a lot of markets. How many people did you think were going to end up watching this race? And were you surprised by the number that it ended up being?
We didn't have any idea.
Yeah.
But that business of he sold tickets, Bill France, and the idea that something could interfere with that was in his mind. And he did himself a favor and gave us this incredible finish. And certainly they were contenders, 5 strong toward the end of the race, got down to the 2, fighting and they had done it earlier in the day. So you just had to follow the dots.